back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. There is a lot going on when it comes to Arsenal speculation, and there is a lot going on when it comes to Arsenal transfer business. But there's one big question that Arsenal have not really asked themselves, and I want us to ask that question on this video and possibly answer it as Andrea Bata becomes a new sporting director. Do Arsenal really need a creative 10? Do Arsenal need an attacking midfielder that is not Martin Odegaard? Do we need to identify and define attacking midfield outside Martin Odegaard? However much I really believe that Odegaard is a creative player, and many people have told us that he's such a creative machine, when I compare him to the likes of Bruno Fernandes, players that are purely creative, or Kevin De Bruyne, players that are purely creative, I don't think he fits in that bracket. He's such a very good midfielder, and he really does a lot of things very well, just like Luka Modric, just like Toni Kroos. I just don't feel like he's as creative as Mesut Ozil. So Arsenal need a number 10. Arsenal need more chances to come from this team. There's no doubt about that. We've seen that this campaign. But will they go in the market and look at that position? Over the weekend, when Arsenal drew 1-1 with Manchester United, a couple of Arsenal fans were not happy. But Paul Mason on Sky Sports was not happy at all. He actually said that when you look at this Arsenal team, there are no goals in them, and he was not wrong. The problem with Arsenal is not that we can't score. The problem with Arsenal is we can't create and we can't score. When we create chances, we can't bury them, which highlights our need for a number 9. And we have been singing that song, number 9, number 9, number 9, for about 2 to 3 years. Arsenal need a prolific finisher, and there's no question about that. And Andrea Bata's agenda is going to have sign a striker right on top. But one thing I realized when we played Manchester United was, although we really had ball possession, and although we really had chances to penetrate Manchester United, we didn't. And I think that comes from a very, very different question than do Arsenal have a number 9? And I think the question that we are not asking, do Arsenal have a creative midfielder? On Monday, which was yesterday, The Athletic wrote a very interesting piece by Ghana Blog, and they said Arsenal's problems are not going to be solved by a number 9 alone, but they also need a number 10. Chances are not being created enough, and that is a big problem. And I think Mikel Arteta really knows this. Now, he's a manager that really loves to create chances from the wings, and you have seen him reinforce Saka, reinforce Trossard, and the likes of Gabriel Martinelli to make sure that Arsenal create a lot of chances from the wider areas. And the reason for that is he thinks, and he's right about this, teams don't always compact the wide areas, they always compact zone 14, which is that zone just outside the penalty area of any team. Teams know that that is where the most dangerous attacks of any team are going to come from. So if you compact that area of the pitch and make sure that Arsenal or Manchester City or Manchester United or Liverpool cannot go through you through the middle, then 100% you can keep a clean sheet or you can get a result in any game. So it's not a surprise that Mikel Arteta is not big on number 10s, because that is where they operate. Think about Ozil, think about Dennis Bergkamp, think about Cesc Fabregas. Where do they play their best football? Where do they play their best passes? It is through the middle, just outside the penalty area. And all teams that play Arsenal, whether it's Manchester United, whether it's Southampton, they always make sure they have around 4 or 5 players in that zone so that we don't create. But still, that doesn't explain why Arsenal are not creating good chances or enough chances. Now, a fan on Twitter really made me laugh. He said, and his name is called AI, and I really don't pick up his tweet because he's very credible. I pick it up because he's got a point, and I thought we need to talk about it. He said that we should sell Martin Odegaard and sign an attacking midfielder. And he said the reason as to why we should sell Odegaard is Arsenal have a couple of options where Odegaard plays. That is on the right-hand side of the midfield. You could use Declan Rice there, you could use Fabio Vieira there because he's still an Arsenal player, or you could use Ethan Nwaneri. So he says generating income from Martin Odegaard, could be maybe 70 million, maybe 80 million, could actually allow Arsenal raise capital to go into the summer and get an attacking midfielder. Now, I'm not supporting that and I'm not on his side, but I'm not against him either. My only problem with him is that he says sell Martin Odegaard. I kind of feel like Odegaard is so important to Arsenal and he might just improve. We can improve him. We don't have to get rid of him. But let me know in the comment box below. Do you agree that Arsenal should sell Odegaard and go out there and maybe sign a player like Wirtz, a number 10 that can create chances, a number 10 that can score goals outside the penalty area, or we just need to add a creative mind, a number 10, a goal-scoring, centered guy to the squad? Let me know in the comment box below. Now, the first question I asked in this video while I was scripting, do Arsenal need a number 10? And my answer was yes and no. Yes, first and foremost, because we really struggle against low blocks and we need a penetrating player that can play penetrating passes when it comes to low blocks. Arsenal is a big team and we have a heavy budget and we have very good players, a very good manager and a well-drilled team. A team that's going to have possession a lot of the time. When you think about the games we played this campaign, how many games have we really struggled with having the ball or ball possession? Very few. But how many games have we really struggled to create good chances, especially through the middle? Many games. So I think when it comes to small teams, they will play Arsenal with a low block. Their plan is easy. Sit back, don't allow Arsenal to go through, and if they do, we are very close to our goalkeeper. He should be able to come and collect the ball. And Arsenal, as a team, we are very predictable. If it's not Saka, I think the rest of the team is so dull and so blunt that all the other teams have to do is just deal with Saka. If you deal with Saka, you've literally dealt with Arsenal, and that has got to change. So I kind of feel like in low blocks, when you're facing a low block, let's say you're playing Leicester City, let's say you're playing Southampton, and this team is sitting back and they're parking the bus. That's the whole meaning of parking the bus, a low block. You're playing a team that is parking the bus, you need to unlock that bus. You need to configure the switch so that you can drive the bus away and penetrate and score. I think that's where you need a creative player. When Arsenal were linked with Joao Felix, I think it was 1 year ago, I said Arsenal could use a player like Joao Felix. Now, Joao Felix is not your typical old-fashioned number 10 that is going to slide balls through and through and through. But what he does is he's such a good ball carrier. And I think with players like Eden Hazard, we already saw it. Chelsea faced low blocks, but with a player like Eden Hazard, they really didn't care. All they did is give the ball to Eden Hazard, and he would glide his way across the back line and find the back of the net. So Arsenal could do two things. One, you could send a number 10 that's like Eden Hazard, this guy that carries the ball, he's very, very press resistant and, he's going to make things happen. Or we could get our own version of Cesc Fabregas. Cesc Fabregas is a little bit different or very different from Eden Hazard. Although both of them are very, very suited to put on the shirt number 10, they actually operate in very different ways. Cesc Fabregas is a very highly intelligent footballer who really sees things before they happen. Eden Hazard is a very intelligent footballer who actually is brave to just take on players and create spaces and chances for himself. Cesc Fabregas will create chances for others. On the other hand, Eden Hazard will create chances for others as well, but he will create chances for himself. And if you're playing against a low block and a mid block that you're going to talk about very shortly, you might need a player like Eden Hazard. And if you can't really say which one do we go with, if you can't really decide, then you might need to get a player who can actually do both of them. That could be a player like Florian Wirtz. That could be a player like Phil Foden. I'm not saying go and raid Liverpool and get Phil Foden. I'm saying, Manchester City. Like Liverpool did get Dominic Szoboszlai. He's that kind of player. Shoots from range, can be a very good attacking option as well, can play those through passes, and he can also be used as an Eden Hazard. And lastly, when it comes to a low block, I think we need to shoot outside the penalty area a little bit more in order to deal with low blocks. I think Arsenal could use a player that actually does that. And that could be Florian Wirtz. Arsenal have been linked with Florian Wirtz before, and that's why he's on this thumbnail. And I would say if Arsenal could go get that deal done, even if we don't get Alexander Isak, it would still be a successful summer. But apart from low blocks, Arsenal have also struggled with mid blocks. And when it comes to mid blocks, it's actually very, very different from low blocks. Arsenal really don't have the mechanism to break down a team that packs the bus in the middle of the pitch. We don't have the mechanism to break down a team that packs the bus in their own half, in their own, near their box. But when it comes to mid blocks, these teams are setting up just after the center line, and Arsenal can break through them. Now, why these teams are very difficult for us is we don't have ball carriers. And when you look at a team like Fulham, Newcastle, Aston Villa, they don't really defend so deep because they've got that quality to just hover around the middle of the pitch and make sure that Arsenal or any other team don't actually penetrate them. So in the only way you can beat them and the only way you can sabotage their mid-block is if you have very good carriers. Saka is one of them, Odegaard isn't. And I know many people are really blaming Odegaard for our lack of creativity and our lack of action in the final third, but I kind of feel like there are games where Odegaard is stuck, and it is because of his profile and what he is as a player, not what he can do and what he can't. So I want to say this. If Arsenal really want to deal with mid blocks and you want to start carrying the ball, you want to start having those looped passes over the top of the wall and having those through balls go through the likes of Šeško, Saka and Martinelli for them to run into space, we might need a very creative player that is not Martin Odegaard. We might need to define another attacking option that is not Martin Odegaard. But there are few voices out there and also in my head that say Arsenal don't need a number 10. We already have what it takes. First and foremost, if we don't look at the market, if we don't solve this problem externally, could Ethan Nwaneri and Fabio Vieira do the job? Let me explain. Ethan Nwaneri is such a very, very versatile player that when you see him play on the right wing, you might think he's better than Saka. And when you see him play in the number 10, you might think this guy is actually better than Cesc Fabregas. He's not. I mean, yes, there is the hype around him, but it's not better than Cesc Fabregas. At least that one I know. But the whole point that I'm trying to put across here is that if Arsenal really want to deal with this problem, but we don't want to throw money at it, Ethan Nwaneri and Fabio Vieira could be utilized. Now, Fabio Vieira is a more comfortable player in the advanced areas of the pitch. We have seen him shoot. We know that he's got that eye for goal. And Ethan Nwaneri too. These players are very different from Martin Odegaard. But the problem I saw with Mikel Arteta, when he brought in Fabio Vieira, he wanted him to do what Bernardo Silva is doing. I think Fabio Vieira as a player is a number 10. I think Fabio Vieira wants to create chances. I think Fabio Vieira is good at scoring goals. He wants to be in front of goal and shoot. Don't place him on the wing. Don't place him in the number 8 so deep. That is not what he wants to do. That is not his speciality. And that's why he's small and thin, because he trusts his brain. So if Arsenal really want to solve the mid-block issue, and we don't want to throw money at it, we could just use Ethan Nwaneri, and we could use Fabio Vieira as well. Mikel Arteta, alternatively, could also just add quality to the wings. What the advantage is when it comes to your team using the wings is it's easy to create chances using the wings, and it's easy to move quickly high up the pitch. That is why Mikel Arteta is a big fan of the wings rather than the middle. The middle is compact, and it's very difficult for you to penetrate through, and the wings are always open. Yes, a few players can actually double down on your winger, but when you have good support, for example, Saka being supported by Odegaard and Ben White, you can create overloads in wide areas and bring in very good deliveries. The problem with wings is at times the chances that come out from there are not as quality and not as direct as the chances that come from zone 14. But if Arsenal decided to go for one good player in the market or for a number 10 in the market, who could it be? I'm not saying Arsenal are signing these guys. I'm saying their options. And number one is Florian Wirtz. Now, he would be very expensive, and obviously, we've been told that Bayern are really struggling to get him. Not struggling, but striving to get him. So, as a German player who is wanted by Bayern, and also a player that is going to be closer to Musiala, and they are really forming a very good partnership for German, I doubt Arsenal will get that deal done. Florian Wirtz might be heading to Bayern, and there might be nothing we could do about it. I thought about Odegaard, but when I think about Odegaard, I kind of feel like he's more of a Martin Odegaard. I think Odegaard is safer, creating his stuff from a little bit deep and then progressing high up the pitch. A bit like Toni Kroos.